Good morning, everyone. How are you doing today? I was preparing for our normal kind of headline financial news, and then I found out today is Warren Buffett's 90th birthday. And I decided to make today's financial news session just 100% Warren Buffett. And I collected some career highlights that I thought were interesting. Really got to some quotes that I think we're going to talk about together. One thing I'd like to ask you is if you have a favorite Warren Buffett quote, go ahead and leave it in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. He has so many, so simple, but yet so powerful. And if you don't know who Warren Buffett is, shame on you. You should check him out. Uh, one thing one thing I remember about Warren is I started reading his annual letters to shareholders way back in the early 2000s. Actually, it might have been it probably was late 90s. Oh! I am sorry, that's what happens when you do these things live. Sometimes you sneeze. But anyways, again, Warren Buffett's annual letters to shareholders, they come out and if you have some time, I would go back and read them. They actually created a paperback book kind of summarizing all of them, but they're all online. You can take a read of them, and I recommend doing that. So again, Warren Buffett is 90. Thank you for the bless you. I appreciate that. You guys are wonderful. A couple of just interesting facts about Warren, kind of in his youth. I've read both his approved biography and unauthorized biographies. I think the best one is called American Capitalist. It is an unauthorized biography. I thought that was the best. I thought the other one, Snowball, I didn't think it was as interesting. But anyways, first and foremost, Warren Buffett eats McDonald's breakfast every day, never spending more than $3.17. I don't know. I find that interesting. A billionaire eating McDonald's every day. He still lives in the house that he bought in the 50s. He bought it for $31,500. In fairness, he has added onto the property quite a bit, but he didn't leave for the billionaire enclaves of other areas. He still lives in the house that he bought with his first wife. He bought his first shares of stock in 1942 when he was 11. He bought them for $38. It was city service, think oil and gas. Later sold them for $40. He made $2. But he learned his first rule of investing with patience as the stock ran up to $200, leaving him a little bit frustrated. He did go to Wharton. He was admitted to Wharton at 16. I did not know that. I had forgotten that. He started what became Berkshire Hathaway, or at least his investing methodology, in 1956 with a partnership of 7 people. 7 people kicked in $105,000 total. Warren's share, $100. Yeah, $100. And he basically took his profits from the gains. And lo and behold, by 1962, with assets of $7.2 million, Warren joined the Millionaire Club. Think about that. I mean, that's an astronomical return. $100 turns into $1 million. I mean, I can't even do that math. It's such a big ass number. Well, I can do the math, but it's not worth doing the math because it's just a big ass number. He ends up liquidating the partnership in 1969. He did make his initial move into insurance in 1967. I really think of Warren Buffett, or Berkshire Hathaway as the company is known, as kind of an insurance conglomerate that invests the float. What is the float? The float is a yearly premium from individuals, and his job is to invest the float because you collect premiums and then you only pay out when either disasters or claims are made. But along the way, he bought such companies as See's Candy. I remember when I learned the first time that he owned See's Candy, I had to go buy a box of chocolate just because I was a fan of his at a young age. 2010, during a speech, he actually called his investment in Berkshire Hathaway, which was the textile company that he bought, as the worst investment he ever made. He figures it cost him $200 billion. The reason that's important is the notion of opportunity cost. Sometimes it is easier or better to either A, not do the deal, or B, cut your losses early because opportunity cost is real. In 1982, Buffett's shares hit $1,000, $1,000, and he was worth 250 million bucks in 1982 and 620 million in 1983. By 1985, he hit the billion-dollar status. Ah, you like that quote? You can never make a good deal with a bad person. That's a great one. Let's see. By 2020, he's now worth about $81 billion. Again, starting with $100. Man, it's crazy. And he's already given away $37 billion. Man. A couple of things that again are interesting is he was a hustler at a very young age. I remember reading about him buying packs of like spearmint gum. You know, they come in packs of 5. He would buy one for a nickel, and then he would sell pieces for 2 cents. So he'd double his money every time. And just a hustler since a kid, so pretty cool. Everybody knows, or probably most people who follow Warren always see him with a can of Coke in his hand. What you may not know is he was a Pepsi man for a long time until he bought Coke the stock and switched. His kids made fun of him for drinking so much Pepsi. His biggest holdings now are obviously Coke and Apple. He didn't really make a splash in the technology until the last decade or so, claiming that he didn't understand it and he only invested in things he understood. A couple other things. So let me go through some quotes that I have, just that meant something to me. They've meant something to me for a while. We'll talk about them. We'll try to relate them to real estate if it makes sense to me. Rule number 1, never lose money. Rule number 2, never forget rule number 1. How true is that? That's probably why I'm not in the stock market, because I'm an emotional trader, as many of you like to remind me. And I watch just too fast. I watch too often, so don't do that. This is a big one for real estate, as I've been doing this for 20 years. Price is what you pay. Value is what you get. That's a big one. And when you look at real estate and the cycles it goes through, price is just what you pay. But when you understand value, understand what's going on, because you're going to hold it for a long time or a long term, it's important. Risk comes from not knowing what you're doing. Man, if I could send a email or text or smoke signal to every new investor that reaches out to me, who's just over eager and ready to go, that's what I would tell them. Risk comes from not knowing what you're doing. That's why my course is all about learn your market, learn your market, learn your market. You make your money when you buy. You overpay when you know half information. I feel for investors who, live in an expensive city, perhaps. They're investing out of town, and they unfortunately take the lens of their city and they put it on some other smaller city or cheaper city. Man, that is a recipe for disaster most of the time. Here's one. Our favorite holding period is forever. That's what I plan for with every house or apartment that we buy, is to hold forever. Obviously, that changes with market gyrations. You've seen me in the book One Rental at a Time sell at the peak a couple of times. So we intend to hold forever. But if the market ever gets wonky, we are happy to let someone else overpay. Here's one that's kind of funny. Opportunities come infrequently. When it rains gold, put out the bucket, not the thimble. How's that? Huh? So I've been doing this 20 years. 2010 for me was my raining gold period, using Warren's quote. And that was the period we did everything we could to get access to cash. No banks were lending, at least not to us. So we had to go find some hard money lender that would loan at 60% LTV. Then that quickly chewed up cash. We had to go find private money, raise millions of dollars in private money, borrowed against 401k, put loans on cars. We were going to buy everything we could. So who knows? This crisis we're in, this health crisis we're in, you know, there may be a raining gold moment in the next year, 2 or 3. And if it's there, if you've learned your market, you know what value is, get the bucket, not the thimble. Pretty cool. Another one Buffett has is don't take years of results too seriously. Instead, focus on a 4 or 5 year period. Yeah. A lot of social media folks out there, YouTube, Instagram, the like LinkedIn nowadays, kind of talking about their track record in real estate the last couple of years. Kind of easy, frankly. What I would tell you is let's look at, in real estate, let's look over a 10 or 15 year period, because it's easy to invest in a market that goes up. It's much more difficult to dance through the raindrops as the market goes up and down. And that's why it really comes down to learning your market. If you haven't spent the time learning your market, and oh, by the way, not only have you learned it, but you continually to watch it, it's really easy to make mistakes. And that's what comes from watching the market for 20 years, is you kind of see it coming. It really does speak to you. It starts with a very tight focus, and then as you grow and expand, you can grow and expand. So pretty interesting. 2 more for you, and we'll call it again. This is Warren Buffett's happy birthday. The young man is 90 today. He has meant a lot to me over the years. So I'm giving him a day. Hopefully that's okay with you. This one's important for me as I go forward with the goal of helping as many people as I can. It takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. Yeah. If I'm really going to stick on social media and stick on this YouTube university and continually help people, I always have to remember that. When in doubt, I've got to bend over backwards for folks, because someone somewhere will say something with a little wiggle of truth, and it could mushroom. So yeah, again, it takes 20 years to build a reputation, and I value mine more than money. So I will never forget, it takes 5 minutes to ruin it. And then finally, the one I have to close with, because I think it speaks to both the real estate market and, more importantly, the stock market. Only when the tide goes out do we see who has been swimming naked. Think about that for a minute. Right? The stock market, great. Stocks only go up. Great. They won't go up forever. They just won't. They could go up for years, true, but they won't go up forever. We will find out who is swimming naked when the stock market crashes. When real estate crashes, we'll find out who's swimming naked. Just happens every time. So at the end of the day, again, let me know what your favorite Warren Buffett quote is. Leave them below. I would greatly appreciate it. We will be back to our normal daily financial news starting tomorrow. But again, the gentleman just turned 90. It meant a lot to me over the last 30 years or so. So I wanted to wish him a happy birthday. Warren, keep doing what you're doing. Let's hope you see 91, because 2020 has taken a lot from us. So stay inside, stay safe. Don't socialize with anybody. Just keep doing what you're doing at home. Play bridge online, talk on the phone. Have a wonderful time, and I look forward to celebrating your 91st birthday next year. Take care, everyone. Bye.